I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love it, property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Sean Thompson. And this is the Sean Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and
It's
blue.
not hypocrisy.
And when the band plays,
It's a
hey,
psychological
to the chief.
manipulation tool
Ooh, they point the cannon at you.
to accuse your opponent of the practices that destroy their life. That's what we face and have faced since Barack Obama was late on his car payment in Shirakistan.
I had a battalion commander come to me, and she said, "We're killing our own soldiers."
We gather today to honor the incredible service members.
We owe you our thanks. We owe you our respect, and we owe you our freedom.
Just as we have gathered before to remember those who served, those who fought, and those who gave their last full measure of devotion for our country.
According to the Associated Press, the Pentagon is going to require vaccines for all service members.
I'm asking the Defense Department to look into how and when they will add COVID-19 to the list of vaccinations our armed forces must get.
The military was ordering service members to take a shot that they could not lawfully order them to take.
Are you choosing to be non-compliant?
Leaders did everything legal or illegal within their power to coerce and influence their service members to get the shot.
I'll never forget, I received a phone call from a mother whose son was a Marine at 29 Palms, and she told me her son and 9 other Marines were being held in confinement in the brig until they got vaccinated.
If you don't do what they tell you to do, they will ostracize you. They will destroy your life.
Stop resisting or you will get tased!
They threatened me with Leavenworth imprisonment. They banned me from all Army Public Health Center facilities for 413 days.
I counted over 140 days where I was put into isolation.
Once it becomes normalized in the military, it often very quickly finds its way into the civilian population, as we saw with the COVID mandate.
The effects extend well beyond just those in uniform, and the impact is really on the entire nation.
8,000 well-trained men and women were fired.
I lost my income. I lost my ability to feed my family.
I mean, I'm being told you're getting dishonorably discharged.
And if you get dishonorable, you lose everything. You can't get certain jobs as a civilian. It follows you for life.
You cannot mandate an experimental medical product. You cannot mandate that on military members.
On free people. Only kings can. My next guest was in that documentary. It's a new documentary called Duty to Disobey. It comes online next month on the 9th. You can find it at dutytodisobeyfilm.com. He was a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force. Now he represents the 25th District in the Arizona House of Representatives. He nearly lost his military career and, more importantly, his medical benefits for his disabled daughter. Nick Kupper, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Sean. Thank you for having me.
It was something to live through, wasn't it, brother?
Yeah, blue.
You know, I'm lucky in the aspect. This is my first job, Nick. I never worked for anybody. So when that bull dung came out, give me $100 million to take it, and I'll spit it in your face. I'm not doing that ever. You tested Viagra for 10 years, and you thought it was a heart medication before you realized the benefit would destroy our country. However, they had no idea what this thing did, and they ignored the side effects. And the ones that I think they hurt the most were the people who were fighting to be free for their strangers. The military, it's still mind-boggling.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. The fact that the people they wanted to hurt the most were those of us fighting for everyone else's freedoms.
And we just came off of a holiday where we understand it's a memorial to the people who died, never came home. And you're talking over 1 million people. You go back to the Civil War, you factor in World War I and II and Nam and Korea and all the Middle East nonsense. You factor that all in. I said it flippantly last week. I don't think one of them died so that the government could have control of us in any way, shape, or form. But I didn't serve. You did. Is there anybody there that is fighting so that the government can control the society so much so that they can tell you what to put in your body?
If they're doing that, they're mentally retarded, honestly. So, really, think about just the founding of our country. We joined together as 13 plucky little colonies for the common defense, not the common control. But then what have they tried to change it into?
And it's happening from our Washington, D.C., which is Caligula for nerds. You know what else is funny? These guys never go back to their own districts. They never. If they have to, it's like they're doing time, and they go back to Caligula. There's a way to become worth multi-millions and control the actions of others. So when you were threatened with this, what was your first? I mean, it's not just you; it's everybody you knew. What was the scuttlebutt among the soldiers when this was happening to them? Was everyone like, this can't move forward?
No, it was more nuanced, unfortunately. There were obviously a lot of us. Honestly, at the beginning, it was hundreds of thousands of us who were questioning what was going on because it wasn't following the traditional protocol of how we do things, and it wasn't following what our regulations said to do. So when the mandate first kicked off and it was going, there's a lot of people, of course, who had taken the shot before the mandate ever kicked in. But once it kicked off, there were probably 400,000 of us originally that were holding off and saying, no, something seems off. And then by the time the mandate got repealed, there were still roughly 100,000 people who hadn't taken it and were fighting and fighting and fighting. They ended up kicking out about 8,600 directly, but they coerced out another 60,000.
And, it's interesting because the play now, right? You fast forward the 6 years. The play is to ignore it. They just want it to go away. And this is something that we owe to you. And when I say we, I mean talking about the people that didn't serve, the people that were not forced. We owe this to you to never let this go. And, maybe they're hoping that it will all go away in the same way the military ballots came in all for Joe Biden. So it one begets the other. First, they steal the election in 2020. Then they force the mandates. If Trump doesn't have too big to rig in 2024, what happens to Nick Kupper?
Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll be in jail. I
That's
think
the seriousness of it.
It's a great thing. I was lucky enough to finally get to retire right before President Trump took office again. But the only reason I even got that was because there was a court that granted an injunction that stopped the Air Force from kicking me out the day after they gave me separation papers and tried to kick me out.
That's timing, kid. That is timing. Somebody up there. Yes, somebody up there likes you. I was just going to say. And it turns out, one of the reasons people go in, most people don't understand this, and you do when you grow up without a lot of money. One of the alternatives is the military. Doesn't pay great. They own your ass, which is obviously something that you learn. But they do have benefits. And those benefits, and the reason those guys do those benefits, I grew up with these guys, and same thing when you go into municipal work, is because you want to provide that security for your kids. Now, you have a daughter that has a disability, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when they first started to leverage you, did they immediately start to leverage the fact that they were going to take away your health care for your daughter?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was immediately, but it was definitely something that was brought up more than once. They would say it, and maybe some of the people who were telling me were well-meaning, but I think the higher-ups were not well-meaning. But they'd say, hey, think about everything you're going to lose, not just your retirement, but, you've got a daughter who has all these medical needs, et cetera, et cetera. But the way I looked at it was, if I was going to take a shot for a non-medical reason, if I was going to take a medical product for a non-medical reason, I was only going to be taking it for money. If I'm going to do that and violate my body for money, I may as well be a whore.
Yes. And then you could run for Democrat Congress. I think you'd be worth millions. However,
I know I might be further along than I am with Republicans right now.
Oh, and that's the other thing. You come back and you say, I'm going to make certain this never happens again. So now you're in the House for the state of Arizona, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which is crucially important. And the reason I say this is in our neighborhood way back in the day, like in the 80s, when decent guys who would be coppers in our neighborhood, one dear family friend of mine, retires along with like 6 others, and they moved to Arizona. Arizona was an incredible place to retire, an incredible place to live. And when you had the kind of pension where you could go in there, back in the day, you had a high quality of life. And I remember going to Arizona. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I have a lot of friends that have lived there, but you have one tremendous flaw. A lot of those guys brought the politics of the Democrat mafia with them. And that is what helped steal the election in 2020. And most people forgot about Maricopa County and Sheriff Arpaio and the fact that the resurgence to bring back right and wrong into politics. However, he was overwhelmed back in 2020, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So now that you're in this position, is it redemption the way I feel it should be, from everything from the stolen election to the forced mandates to the buffoon who is the governor now? It's clearly that's clearly a payoff, because she was the Secretary of State for helping facilitate the 2020 theft, in my opinion. Then she becomes senator. That election is steeped in scandal. Then she becomes governor, steeped in scandal. So how much of that is part of your agenda to fight for the validation of a decent election?
Oh, we do this all the time. Honestly, we're trying everything we can to make sure that elections are actually fair, and not fair for one party or for the other, but actually fair for people who are voting. Unfortunately, this sham of a governor we have in place right now is constantly stopping us at every turn. We have a couple levers we can pull. We can send things directly to the ballot, et cetera. But I'll tell you what, the amount of outside of the state money that comes in to try to change our ballot initiatives is absolutely disgusting.
Well, Nick, it's the perfect system of fraud, right? And people feel it's compartmentalized. This all started in the beginning with New York. They feel like it's only that area. And that's why I wanted to tell you about the people that go out. They bring the Democrat philosophies. They bring their younger relatives. They bring the idea, once you turn one of these Western states into this, it's very difficult to get out of, because when they're in a position of power, they have all the leverage to hold it back. And I'm wondering, you're 20 years in the military. What year did you sign up?
2003.
2003. And then where did you spend the bulk of your time? What was your rank going out?
I was a master sergeant when I retired, and that was the rank I spent the most time in.
And when you would see and hear the stories of these third world countries and the banana republics that they have, and the fraud and the way in which the people are harmless, they're helpless, they can't do anything about it. That's exactly what it feels like to me when I go back to my old Democrat areas in Shirakistan, as I like to call it, Chicago or Illinois. And does it feel like that in these Democrat strongholds in Arizona now, where it's a third world? They govern with an iron fist. It's better to be the government than be the serf underneath them. And that's the Soviet system, where it's better to be the abuser than the citizen. And does it feel like that in these Democrat areas in Arizona as well?
Oh, I mean, if you look at like South Phoenix, where we have just rampant homelessness, we had a homeless encampment that was called the Zone, took up multiple blocks. Eventually, a court had to order that the city clean it up because the city was refusing to, and it's slowly starting to build back right now. But when you look at that, it literally looks like all the third world countries I've visited. I've been blessed in this world between my military experience and personal travel. I've been to 30 different nations. The vast majority of them are third world. And to see my own city become third world is disgusting and devastating.
So what is the move now in the Arizona House? This is incredible news that you won. Do you have a good group of people that feel the way you and I and all the listeners feel about the country and want to reestablish right and wrong and Americanism and principles? Do you feel like it can be turned around, or has it become Illinoistan?
Well, we're not the left coast just yet here in Arizona. So it definitely can be turned around. We have slim majorities in the House and in the Senate. And this year, we're looking to elect Andy Biggs, hopefully, to replace the crap Governor Hobbs that we have. A lot of people call her Hobgoblin. If we get him in place, honestly, Arizona is going to be on the right track. But no, we have a great group of people, guys and gals on the Republican side of the House here. And one of the things I'm most proud of right now is I'm running a constitutional amendment for our state that would prevent the state from ever mandating anyone ever take any medical product. Across the country, only one state ever has been able to get an amendment like that, even through a single committee in one chamber. I was able to get it out of the House, get it out of committee in the Senate, and it's just waiting on a vote in the Senate to go to the people for their vote.
I live in that state. You're talking about Florida, right?
Arizona.
Oh, I'm talking about the mandate. You can never.
Oh, the one? No,
Yeah.
The one that was a constitutional amendment was actually Pennsylvania, but the thing is they only got it out of a single committee. They never got it anywhere else. No state has a full constitutional amendment. They have laws, but no state has a constitutional amendment enshrining that right.
One of the other things that was amazing to live through this here was how they were doubling down on what was obviously side effects and doubling down on stupid and force. The reason I said Florida is I moved right in the beginning of it. And right away, they started to see what was going on. And now, right now, it's very difficult to get any mRNA vaccine. You have to, really try. Go to your doctor. And you can't get it in off the shelf or walk into a Walgreens and say, give me the mRNA. And we have Leopold is the Surgeon General of Florida. He's a wonderful guy. And the guy before him started the movement. So there were states that saw what this was doing to people versus the ones that ignored it. And the reality is you have actual fact. There's actual facts that were cover-up, from the Bell's palsy to the clots to the insanity. Don't you think this is something that has to be brought up every single time we talk about what you went through, what the soldiers went through, what everybody went through who was forced for this? They were literally, and when I say they, I mean the government, was forcing you to take not just an experiment, something they had known was doing harm to the people.
Oh, yeah. One of the women in our documentary, Duty to Disobey, she had multiple heart attacks in her early 20s after taking the shot. That's 100% unacceptable. And then as far as them knowing what it was doing, we have data in the military called DMED data. It's a little different than theirs. It's the actual doctor-reported data. And they completely changed the numbers after one of our whistleblowers released all the data of how many people were being harmed by this. And they completely changed everything and said, oh, there was just a glitch. It was a glitch, actually. Thanks for finding it for us.
Oh, God. I was at the Merck when the stock market crashed in 2008. And the first excuse, because you had some time to get out of it, the first excuse was, there was a trader, a hedge fund trader, and he fat-handed it. It's the same weak, limp-wristed excuse to keep you in longer so you lose more. And it's the same case when it was the results of side effects of the vaccine. It's just the same playbook over and over again. However, I think the people are truly disgusted. And has this been a part of your campaign? Not just the force, but the fact that they were ignoring the reality of what the shot was doing. Do you bring this up when you go on these campaigns and you discuss it? And are you planning on going bigger with your career in politics?
It really depends on the audience. I want to speak to what the constituents care about in that moment, in that area. So some areas of my district, they want to talk about that right now, so we'll talk about it. Other parts of my district, they want to talk about affordability, et cetera. I talk about they want to talk about because I'm not supposed to be in office for me. I'm supposed to be in office for them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, my experience galvanized me to get off my butt and get into office. But at the end of the day, there are far too many politicians working for themselves and not working for the people. As far as if I have any other plans, I really, selfishly, I don't want to do politics at all. I want to move into the woods and tell the world to leave me the hell alone. But I feel like God has me set up for politics for some time right now. And as long as he opens the door to whatever office, I'm going to go for it.
Nick, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that the people served don't want to serve. It's supposed to be temporary. It was never supposed to be this money laundering scheme it is today. So I'm hoping, like the rest of the listeners, that you do move forward with a different, longer-term agenda. And as long as you get people that understand the principles they were serving for, that benefited them, that want to represent, I think it's great. But you can never unmoor yourself from the principle of we're Americans. The government is our servant. Right. We're not their servant. And this goes by the wayside. When you go to these strong Democrat areas, it seems that they're all filled with cowards that just want to steal everybody else's money and their rights. So I love the idea that you're turning Arizona around. And I think also the people that are leaving California and the people that are leaving these blue totalitarian hellholes that are moving to these places, they're going to be the better constituents. Do you see that happening before your eyes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Arizona, of course, is one of the states that gets the majority of Californians. And it's really funny. We'll be in conservative circles, et cetera, and someone will say, I'm from California. Please don't hold it against me. I left for a reason. I'm not going to bring liberal ideals here. But it's just so funny because everyone realizes the vibe that California gives off. California has become a hellhole, a cesspool, right? So has Oregon, so has Washington. And I don't think there's any trying to turn them around until they absolutely hit rock bottom, yet I'm not sure how they haven't hit rock bottom yet.
Well, this is why I'm very optimistic of the future. This is going to be the real revolution of political thinking and the agenda. And this is why when I talk to a guy like you, it makes me feel much better about these areas in the future. Nick Kupper, and the website for the documentary is dutytodisobeyfilm.com, and I want everyone to check that out on the 9th of next month. However, where does everybody keep an eye on Nick Kupper?
Well, they can check out my X handle. That's probably where I'm the most active. It's at Real Nick Kupper. Or they can go to my website, Kupper4Arizona.com.
Thanks for your service. Is something that bothers me. I don't think it encompasses enough. Thanks for the sacrifice you were willing to give, and you thank God you never had to give it. But more importantly, you take care of everybody, especially your daughter, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nick. My pleasure. Anytime you want to come back on, you got an open line. You keep that in mind.